I wish you could hear. I was like, I wish you could hear the chugging of my beer pouring into the glass.
Glug, 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 glug.
Yeah, yeah. As that was finishing up, I think it was a good segue. Anyway, how are you doing?
Good, man. Ready to have some drinks. Not that we didn't have enough last night, but
I played it slow last night, so I feel like this is my
catch up.
night. Yeah.
Last night was Keepers of Craft meeting down at Brewery Outre.
Yeah, our first meeting of 2025, which we really weren't prepared for either.
It's fine. Are you saying we're not prepared for this show? Is that what you're implying?
I mean, this is a planning show. You're not really ever prepared to plan, right? I mean,
exactly.
That was bullshit. Yeah, I meant the show.
I still have a bit of a cough, so I'm going to do my best not to cough into the mic tonight.
That's all good. I know we both got sick over New Year's, so thank you to anybody or everybody that brought diseases to gatherings. I think, I mean, I had my kids in from out of town. Yeah, and other things. It's just holidays and people suck.
Yep, fair. What are you drinking tonight?
Guinness. Just, I mean, to start. Now,
regular
regular right now.
Okay.
I do have an NA, but I also was looking in my fridge and I still have leftover seltzers from Friendsgiving. So we'll see where this goes.
Okay.
What about you?
I've got I'm drinking leftovers that people left at my house over New Year's. So I think I got something from like Hoof Hearted down there. I don't know what else they have. Yeah. I'm drinking some cider to start.
Yours?
Uh-huh.
Right on. Jordan is traveling for education or business. I forget which one, but if he can join us from the hotel, you think he will? We'll see.
That's what he said. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
He might be exhausted from all of his learning today.
That's right. It's tough work. Fun. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be kind of a more low-key show anyway. This is our first show of 2025. And before Christmas, we talked about kind of our high-level plans for 2025 to dive into yet, with that new series. So I thought it'd be good just to get together and let's talk about what we're going to do. Kind of some of the shows that we've got coming up and maybe the organization or flow that we're going to expect and drink beer and hang out and bullshit like normal and talk about what's going to come.
Perfect. And as a reminder, what was the series of shows?
Yeah, so we're gonna focus 2025 on homebrew competitions because it's what you and I are, I think, most intersected with right now.
Yeah,
with each other anyway. And I really feel like we've done a good job organizing the competitions that we've been involved in the last couple of years. We've made some steady progress and improvement. I feel like in my exposure to other people that are running comps that there's not a lot of great information out there on to help, either newer people who are running comps or, or people that are taking over some existing comps. And so I thought it'd be good to let's dive into the individual pieces and parts of organizing a homebrew competition over a series of shows through 2025. It could be 12 shows, one a month. It could be a couple more, who knows? But I think it would be good content to have out on the web and share with our homebrew community.
And we have somebody else that's going to help us out with that too, right?
Yes, probably a couple of people. But our good friend Brian Fisher, who I think has been on a couple of times, is going to join us more in 2025. He's focused on his channel, which we've shared before. It's Let's Get Judgy on YouTube. I'll find a link in a minute. But Brian is really invested in the judging process and documenting and creating some educational material around getting BJCP certified and what goes into that. We talked last night about a great series of videos that he's going to go through. He's got videos out right now on what judging is and what the BJCP is, and I think even one on like a mini boss on what that is, since that tends to be confusing for people. And then right now, I think he's going to start working on a series of in-depth tasting videos, specifically targeting the BJCP categories that are going to come up on a test. And I think that's really cool. We're pretty excited about those, and so I think he can jump in and help us, talk about some of the judging aspects, but also on a more, I guess, Michigan Beer Cup level. Brian Fisher started helping us fundraise last year, and actually in just a few short weeks wound up bringing us in a ton of money.
Yeah.
So he's joining our Michigan Beer Cup team in a more formal capacity this year to help us really try to knock out fundraising, which is one of the show topics I think we talked about. And we'll have Brian involved in that. And yeah, so super excited about that one.
Your mic's getting kind of like bubbly. I'm not sure what the
moving away from it. Let me turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Brian Fisher.
Yeah, that's good.
Jordan's going to be in and out, as it is, and I think Jordan's going to provide a good insight into somebody who doesn't really know much about brew comps. He can ask us some questions, more from the home brewer side. So looking forward to that. And then we may have other people. One of the episodes I think we'll have later in the year is going to be on like stewards and cellar masters and some of the other critical roles around a beer conference. So there's some people that I think that we can bring in to talk about, maybe what's it take to be a cellar master and what are some of the finer points of that. And same thing for stewarding and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. Good episode.
Your mic's still a little bubbly, but it's fine. No, don't fuck with it too much. I'm not sure what the deal is there. That was a nice looking Guinness pour, though. Maybe a little tall, right?
A little bit. But it's also partly glassware. I just didn't have the right glass. So
well, aside from our like comp episodes and stuff like that, we're gonna have more like regular episodes and stuff like that during the year too. We're still kind of planning on doing other stuff too, right?
Yeah, I think in and out. Like I said, if we can do a comp a month, if we can break this into 12 episodes, and then we'll fill in with our normal drinking
Whatever.
and bullshit.
Yeah,
and,
sure. Yeah. I'd like to have more people on again, like we used to, like like guests and stuff like that. Like, not a lot, but I mean, it was fun getting on like brewers or something. I think we can talk to the guys at Territorial.
Yeah,
they'd probably be down to get out a little bit.
It's funny if you go back and you look at our first year. I think that was the majority of our episodes was guests, and I think we got a little burned out on that, and it was kind of hard. It's more work to organize those shows, and then we moved away from it. But it's been a while, and I think there's a lot of great people out there that would be fun to talk to. So I'm absolutely down for trying to do some more of those. Just getting people to come hang out and dig into why they started a brewery or the challenges they're facing with a brewery, especially nowadays with the way that the craft industry is changing. So I think it'd be really, really interesting.
You just heard of another shutdown before the show started, right?
Yeah, I just saw Three Gattos is closing down in Grand Rapids. That's a bummer. But everyone I've seen lately, they're all saying the same thing. There's a downturn in the industry. It's hard after COVID to recover. And those are just hard things to combat right now. And I think too, it's just overall the market is really still saturated with craft beer.
Yeah, and you need to have like a prime. You need to have like all these things be like perfect. Like you need to have like a prime location and like good food and good beer and like good atmosphere and like all these things, and it's like you have to pay for those, right? and it's not enough just to be like the neighborhood brewery anymore. It feels like, which is too bad.
No, it's really not. I mean, some of those little outliers, that are around here, and trying not to name names, but there are the smaller communities that are a little bit farther from the city. I think it's where they can support the one brewery, but there's been plus and minuses there. I mean, they come to mind where there's a small town 20 miles from Kalamazoo that's gone through, I think, 4 different breweries in 10 years because they can't
Uh-huh.
support it. But I think it's more challenging, especially in like Grand Rapids. There's so much good beer in Grand Rapids, so many options. Um, and
And
it's
like it's a big enough city too where I think that's fine. Like it's much bigger than Kalamazoo. It's like I think
yeah,
it can support the number of breweries that it has, but still it feels like there's a lot. Like
I
somebody will
think
still
yeah,
mention a brewery to me up there, and I'll be like, I've never heard of that before.
yeah. But I hear about them too as they're closing down. That's what I mean. There's just so many choices, and you've really got to be on your A game, and the beer has to be on point. And I think you got to be able to stay up with the times and the changing times. I feel like craft beer is starting to move away from like the hazy boys, and even the pastry stouts and all of the super sweet beers that were big a couple of years ago. I've been drifting to crispier lagers and lighter beers for a couple of years, but I feel like more people that I talk to are also going that way. And
Uh-huh.
um, you go into breweries and see that all they have are these big overblown hazies or super sweet crazy sours and seltzers and shit like that. They're just not sustainable.
I can't, obviously speak to any part of the industry because I'm not a part of it or anything like that. But I do like occasionally lurk on like,
Mhm.
beer trading, like Facebook groups and stuff like that. And, it's not nearly as busy, as it was, say like 2019 or something like that. And granted, that's 5, 6 years, but
Yeah.
like even the stuff that I see, like people wanting, like the prices are down in secondary, which I feel like has to speak for a little bit of something because there's probably not as much demand um, for that stuff. And you see pictures of like even 5 years ago, like everybody that I knew was going out on like Black Friday and trying to beer hunt a little bit. And like I don't really know anybody that does much of that anymore. There's like Hardings, a couple of Hardings in town. I think actually had like Goose Island variants sitting on shelves for like
Yeah.
a week or two after Black Friday. Still, like you didn't have to go on wait in line. You could have just gone in and paid the incredibly high price and walked out. Granted, I still think those are some of the better yearly like seasonal stout releases. They're just generally pretty good beer, but still
Yeah.
like
It's hard. I mean, I'm with you. I don't really do much of the beer trading anymore, but the stuff like that, and I got rid of my cellar when I moved. But that stuff, that's why I feel like it's kind of dying in popularity largely. And that's just my own opinion from people I've talked to, and most of it's keepers and people around here in Kalamazoo. But um, I just think it's the whole the hobby in general. Home brewing is on a decline. Craft brewing is on a decline. I was talking to somebody that used to be in the beer industry, and they were telling me how AB InBev is getting rid of all of their craft brands that they had scrambled to buy up in the teens. Now they're getting out of that game. And I don't know. I was talking to somebody about it last night, and it's like we don't know if they're gonna just discontinue the lines or they're gonna sell off the breweries and try to let them go private again or something like that. But um, and even in the you can kind of see it when you go to the grocery store, like the craft beer section, I think is starting to shrink back down where it had grown, bigger and was spreading out down the aisle in Meyer. And now it's kind of like shifting back.
yeah.
Um, but I think it's just a trend. It's just, or
It
the
is
phase.
just like with the hobby right now, it's on the downturn, and it'll swing back again too. It's cyclical. everything else.
Yeah. But even though the hobby is in a downturn, our competition sold out. and and we're still seeing a lot of homebrew competitions sell out pretty quickly.
You know, that's one of the things I think that like that the hobby's in a downturn, right? But the people that compete are are still filling things up, like not just our competition, but like Blue Bonnet just opened up not too long ago. Let me go check out their website real quick. Within the first 5 minutes, they were at 600 entries. Right now, they're sitting at 1,344. You know,
it's crazy. What's their cap?
About 1,500, 1,600, something like that.
That's a big comp. Yeah.
I think it's the second biggest in the country outside of NHC.
NHC, yeah.
And well, generally, people like it a lot better too.
Is Blue Bonnet homebrew only, or do they do pro?
I don't know that. I think it's homebrew only though.
Yeah, because I was going to say, Indianapolis, there are 1,500 entries total, but there is I think they're pretty good mix between homebrew and pro brew. Yeah, I don't know of any other 1,500 bottle comps or entry comps. I mean, I can tell you, and we're gonna have an episode on this. This is going to be one of the ones that we talk about. A lot of the competition planning is around how many entries you can sustain, and manage appropriately and effectively.
Yeah.
And we're a 500 bottle comp, which is still a big fucking competition. But I don't think
2-bottle comp, so we have to manage 1,000 bottles.
1,000 bottles of beer. Yeah, I keep saying bottle comp entry. We're a 500 entry comp, and I don't know if I'd want to go too much bigger, but I don't know if we could go too much bigger.
It would all depend on volunteers.
It comes down to judges.
That's our bottleneck.
Yeah. But now we're getting into future topic shit or future episodes, so we can talk about that. No, for the comp, I can do this. I'll run through. These are the ideas that I had on episodes. Let me see how many I've got here. I've got
1, do that
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, perfect. 12. So, I think we can do a whole episode about, kind of why run a comp? Why do you want to run a comp? What's the benefits of running a comp? What are the pros and cons of running a comp? There can be a whole conversation around, why are you crazy enough to do that? And absolutely, Lori Judges is the kicker. But then there's another, there's a big divide right now, I think, in the homebrew competition world about judging software. There's two big ones. There's BCOEM and Reggie. And I think there's a couple of smaller ones that are out there.
BAP is coming up in popularity too a little bit.
Yeah. So I'd love to dive into the pros and cons and the differences of those, and maybe even be great if we can get some of those guys to come on and talk. Not that I would put Reggie up against BCOEM and have him go head to head or something.
Yeah. Well, Nelson's a big part of like the Master Homebrew programs, stuff like that, and he updates his platform pretty regularly to accommodate for changes in the industry and stuff like that.
Yep.
I feel like he'd be interested in talking about it. I don't know.
It might be good. Reach out to him and see.
Yeah.
A big thing that's on our minds recently is we can do a whole show about budgets and how much this thing costs and where you're going to get that money and what are you going to spend money on. And I think that one's going to be a big eye opener to a lot of the people that, enter these comps and they're like, where does my money go? Or why do they need so much money? Oh, you got a Fistmas. We drank one of those at your house, right? Yeah. Yeah. It was good. I mean, it was okay for what it is. So we'll do a whole show on budgets. Probably do a good show on metals, and Brian can break out his metal collection, and we can go over what makes a cool metal cool. And
that'd be fun.
Yeah, and look through that and talk about kind of the process of metal design, and that you should really just step away and let somebody prettier and smarter than you figure it out, like we did.
Yeah, worked great.
We'll have a show on judging, and we'll dive into how to get those judges, what to do for the judges, what's expected of the judges, And then, kind of go through like the mini boss conversation. But just that day of, like, what are you doing with the judges? How are you kind of herding these cats and getting, the things that they need from, from the competition, the supplies and the organization versus, the feedback and things that they need to get back to the competition. So um, that's something I'm really passionate about, and I'm excited to talk about that. And I'm hoping that we can get a few BJCP judges, maybe even be able to get, one of our friends, Sandy or Gail, to come on and we can talk through some of that. The big challenge that we had last year, I think for Brian and I, was kind of the mess that sorting was. And we've come up with a lot of good thoughts and ideas about how to make sorting easier for this year. So I'm excited to kind of dive into that before we get to sorting so that we can try to implement some of those changes that we talked about last year. I've still got a spreadsheet somewhere. I'd like to talk about, go back into the entry limits, bottle counts. Why do you have 2 bottles? Why would you want 3 bottles? I know our friend Tim is really great about bitching about comps that ask for 3 bottles.
Especially the really small ones.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no reason. If you're doing this is a preview, but if you're doing a single judging day or a single day of judging with a small group of judges and a small number of entries, then there is no reason to ever ask for a third bottle. And it's really challenging on the home brewers. It's greatly increases the expense to ship. It's hard, for them, for those that enter a lot of competitions, to send that third bottle. It's dipping into their,
or if you're
inventory, or mead.
It's a third bottle of mead is expensive. Like,
right.
Some of those bottles can be, just in ingredients and packaging alone, like $6-8 in fruit and honey and stuff like that. Like,
but I know that there's some comps, there's especially some small comps out there that are just like, oh, well, that's what, when we Googled, that's what NHC does. Well, NHC is a different beast, and that, that mini best of show may be a completely separate day than the table judging. And then the final best of show may be in a completely separate week. So there's reasons for that. But if you're doing it, if you're knocking your comp out in one day, 2 bottles max. But yeah, we'll dive into that some more.
I went back through our episodes, and I don't think that we ever did a episode on like a brewing for competition episode. Like, it feels like we would have, right?
I mean, we wrote a presentation for it.
Right.
You do that online.
I really,
sure.
I go back and look after the show. Or while I'm talking, or something like that. But I couldn't find one, and so that surprised me. And so maybe we can talk about that too, because somebody from the club actually asked us last night to do that presentation, because we have a lot of newer members and keepers. And the last time Jason and I did that presentation was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. And since then, like, a lot of things have changed, even in the way that either of us probably enters or prepares or whatever for comps. So
yeah, I definitely think that we should revamp that and update it and do another presentation this year. I know we're meeting this week with our officers to kind of plan our 2025, and I think that'll be one of that should be one of our monthly episodes. Maybe when we do that, we can, or not episode, meeting, one of our monthly meetings. And when we do that, we can definitely make that into an episode.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But yeah, you're right. I feel like we have, but
we talk about
through our episodes, and we
I know. Yeah, so, I just don't see it.
Brewing for competitions, I think we have a really good presentation on it, and so I think that's it'd be a great episode to go through and just pull the slides up and run through it. So absolutely,
we've done it at least 3 or 4 times, right, between various clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, Craig, that would be great. And I know that we've talked with other clubs in the past. We've had, your other masher. Actually, you think you might have been on. We've had some of the mashers on. When we used to interview the clubs, we used to ask all the time, like, what are you doing to engage your membership, and what are you doing to keep your membership? So it might be a good thing to go back and try to recap that or rehash it, because like we were saying, the membership or the interest in homebrewing in general is kind of on the decline, and it's going to be more important for us as club organizers. And congrats on your recent promotion to president of Motor City Masters, by the way. Sorry.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. But it's going to be more and more important for us to kind of try to stay involved in the community and continue to grow our clubs. So yeah, it's great idea.
That would be a good talk. And I feel like it's almost just as important, maybe more important, to keep your members engaged with the hobby as a whole over even the club, because
Yeah.
like as soon as they stop brewing, they're going to stop coming to meetings. So how do you keep your members brewing, right? Like, how do you keep them interested in making more beer? Is that helping them get rid of beer that they have on tap so that they can brew again? Is that helping them come up with, beer ideas, brew ideas? Is it club competitions? Yeah. I think that'd be a really good combo.
Yeah. No, I'll make a note of that.
Thanks, Craig. I can hear. I have my headphones on. I can hear myself. I'm a little nasally still, so I'm sorry about that. My voice is annoying myself right now.
That's what you get for being around people.
Yeah.
What else? Let's see. There were a couple other comp episodes. We'll do a whole episode on volunteers, staff stewards, cellar masters, and then probably a whole nother episode on venues and award ceremonies, and things like that. So I'm excited for the comp organization side of it. I know we've got a lot of friends that do different comps. Lori's been in the chat. She's, just launched another competition today. I think a Michigan homebrew cider competition is going to be put on by Cass River this year. Super cool that we've got more cider focused comps besides Glint Cap in Michigan. So what's this from Keith? Let's see. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So for people that tune into the podcast, so Keith Manchester put up that they have a professional brewer series where they get recipes from professional breweries and they share them with the club. That seems to be a hit. And then, to shout out in more detail, Lori Kula is putting on, or Cass River Homebrew Club is putting on the Michigan Cider Madness competition. We'll put a link to that in comments here in just a moment.
I recognize those initials.
Michigan Cider Madness, MCM.
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose, Lori?
Is there collusion going on here? Yeah.
That's awesome. I just shared the link. No, I'm finding it. I just shared it to our club a little bit ago. So, so here is the link to the Cass Club site, and then let me get the link. See if I can post this Reggie registration link in here, but it's going to be ugly. So I'm just going to leave the Cass River Homebrew Club site in there. You can go there and find information about it, which should direct you to the link in Reggie, where you can register. Registration opens on Wednesday of this week. Entry limits 100 entries. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll grab the link and throw it on our Facebook page too.
Cool. So yeah, definitely looking forward to all of our cool competition episodes this year, but also filling in with some other, kind of like Brian said, throwbacks, trying to get some guests back on. We'll definitely line up a an episode about brewing for competitions, and then we'll get another episode going about just staying engaged with homebrew clubs. I'd love to get maybe, even 4 or 5 different, homebrew club officers, presidents, whatever, Keith, Craig, Lori, if you guys want to join us for those, since you're in chat, that would be awesome. We'll set something up in a couple of near future. I don't want to say a couple months. I don't know what our schedule's going to be. But yeah. What else do you want to do this year, Brian?
Give me a sec. I was finding the Reggie link. I can do that after the show. So I was thinking about that. The brewing for competitions presentation, and getting more guests on. I miss our style shows a little bit, but maybe not necessarily like us bullshitting about like styles, more like maybe because I want to do more like beer review, like sort of episode sort of things, but like it's always a little bit hard to get. Surprisingly, it's hard to get beer.
Yeah,
but I would really like to do more of those.
We've asked probably dozens of times for homebrew review, or for homebrew 2 review, and I think we've only ever gotten it like once or twice. So it would be something that I can try to put out to the president's page again and see if people would be willing to go to their clubs and try to get us something. But it's just really it's been difficult, and it's not always. I think people are always a little concerned about having their beer torn apart or critiqued online, and all I can say is we don't have to. It can be anonymous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
And I will say Brian and I are never rude, and we're always doing it with our the goal to be constructive feedback, something you can take away. But I'd love to do some more homebrew review too. The styles, I don't know, man. Like I feel like we had a couple of really good style shows, and there's styles that we are passionate about, and those are great episodes. Like I very fondly remember like our stouts episode, and but then I also go back to the winter warmer episode and the Scottish ale episode. We honestly just shit the bed on that. We should have just fucking stared at each other and drank beer.
Laura says style analysis and comparisons are always number one on their education survey. So maybe it's like maybe in advance we say, okay, hey, we're going to do a porter episode, for our next show, and we give a list of like 4 beers for people to try and find, that we take and drink, so they can like drink with us or something like that too.
All right, let's do it.
We'll pay for shipping too.
Yeah.
So it's not it won't even cost you anything but your cans.
I mean, how bad is it going to be, Danny? It's not like I'm going to say that I think your DIPA is too oniony or whatever.
What was the word?
I can't remember. His hops are onion. I think he got onion. That's all I can remember.
Oh, I want to remember that word now. It was like alliaceous. I think it's alliaceous, right?
Yes. Right. No, you're right, Lori. So Lori talks about, we're jumping back before picking on Danny. Jumping back to the style comparison, she's saying that's at a meeting with varied skills. But that's what I think what Brian is trying to say. If we can present this out there and say, hey, everybody go buy, some Celebrator, and we're all going to get together and drink it and talk about it. I think that would be.
I don't think that you and I, are even the people that need to be like running that sort of show. Like I want it to be a group discussion, right? Like,
yeah,
it's not like you and I are like masters of Doppelbock or something like that. Like I know as much about Doppelbock as anybody else in this chat right now. And, and I think that I can learn by hearing what other people say as much as other people can, do the same from what I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, unless we're going to do an episode where we dig into the finer details of Fruit Loop beers, I'm not the best expert to talk to.
You are the master of Fruit Loop beers.
Yeah, I know, but
It
that's
is
what
not a fruit beer though, so
fuck
don't
yeah.
you be entering that as a fruit beer. Lemons be damned. All right, unless you brew that and put some like lemon zest or something like that in there, I don't know. Then
I am
maybe
now.
we'll give you a little bit of some leeway. Anything to get you brewing.
I will be brewing again in September, maybe
Is
August.
That your house date?
We should be moving in the first part of August.
Wow,
And
they must be moving quick. That's great.
they're moving slow as shit, if you ask me.
Okay.
If we do move in the first week of August, then I will be brewing. And of course, I'm going to brew for Homebrew Fest, but I'm going to brew, at your house or at Tim's house or somebody else's place, and really make them carry the brunt of my work. But no, I can't brew here anymore. My shit's in storage and in multiple places. I don't have the room. I get pissed off because I wind up, driving to your house or Tim's house 3 times to try to get shit that I can't find. And so I'm just like, fuck it, until my house is built and my brewery is built. I'm not brewing again. So August, September. But when I do, man, the brewery's gonna be sick. So super excited about that.
Are you getting like a whole new indoor setup? Or like an electric setup or something like that? Like what's your plan?
It's on the plan. I mean, I got to build the house first, and I got to see if we can afford furniture after we build the house, especially with all the shit that's happening in the world. So if I can, if I have the budget, then I'm looking at, I was looking at like the Spike system. I looked at an SS Brewtech system. I'm looking for like a 3-vessel electric system. I have one now. I don't really like it. But ideally,
it's a propane system, right?
It is a propane system that I have right now, and it's a homemade propane system. I mean, it's a beautiful Kegel or Sabco type system, whatever you want to call it. And it actually started a brewery. I mean, there was the system that Arclight used to become a brewery, and it's fine. I just don't personally. I want a little bit more, I don't know, size and functionality. So my dream is, kind of like that Spike system with a glycol system to support it in a couple of fermenters. When I was looking at building this house 3 years ago before I quit my last big job, I, had priced all this stuff out and had it in my cart on their website, was ready to buy and dropped just an insane amount of money on this brewing rig that now I've gotten smarter and pulled my head out of my ass. And you can find the same system on Marketplace for like 20% of the cost. So I'm just keeping my eye out for that. And as we get closer, I might do something like that. But even honestly, as far as the structure goes, I'm building, a completely separate garage on my house that's insulated and heating, cooling, water, floor drains, systems for, like a cool bot room.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So, it's going to be the setups. Even if I'm brewing on my current existing system in there, I'll have a nice place.
At least have ventilation and stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So that's my dream. So hopefully it's finally coming true. As long as I don't quit my job again, which we'll see.
Priorities, Jason. House. No. Brewing setup, then house. I guess they have to go together, but yeah.
Right.
You can crack up another Guinness.
I am about to.
Oh, wait. Oh, you have seltzer.
No. This Guinness is tasting really good.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't had like a can Guinness or a bottle or that is some ASMR here.
Yeah. But, don't fight it.
for the podcast later, nobody's going to know whether you just took your headset to the bathroom or whether you're pouring a beer. But
yes, Keith, I am brewing. I'm building a brewery with a attached house. But don't get me wrong, Amy's got plenty. So the other side of the house is going to be basically an animal rescue that she's going to be fostering and doing all of her shit too. So this is not one-sided.
Did you guys end up getting the mud room with like the spray hose and stuff like that and the drain in it? Like, wasn't that like a?
Oh yeah, no, the basement walkout. You come in to a contained room that's got a built-in dog wash station, and it's going to have units to do, where we can put kennels for fostering, and it's completely separate from the rest of the house, so we can kind of maintain separation between our animals.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we don't Amy, we don't run a rescue, we foster, and that was her hobby for many years. And years ago we were only able to do cats because that's the space that we had. And I think one year she fostered and adopted out over 100 cats, and so that's kind of her passion and her hobby. And so yeah, that's built into the plans. But she wants to be able to do dogs as well. So her room will have enough space for that. So yeah, building a brewery / animal foster facility with a couple of bedrooms that we can sleep in between that shit.
Good plan.
Yeah. Out in the middle of the woods where nobody can see us. It's gonna be beautiful.
There's no rules. As the rest of that acreage goes on sale, you can, just
we'll see.
Have many more sheds and what there's a word that I'm looking for. I don't know what it is. You don't want to foster animals in like random dark sheds in the woods.
Yeah, there you go.
Not a great idea, but pole barns. Jesus Christ.
We'll see. Oh no, there's been a lot of good ideas come up tonight though. So yeah, I'm not gonna put out I know in the years past we're like, we're gonna do 24 episodes, or we're gonna fuck that. We're gonna continue to do shows as we can fit them into our life. Oddly enough, for those of you that followed along last year when we were voted the 69th best podcast in Michigan, and that's for Michigan-based podcast. This year, for some reason, we jumped up to the 15th. So I'm kind of sad that we lost the 69th position, especially since I have a banner with that printed on it.
We jumped up to what?
15th. 15. Yeah. We are the 15th highest rated Michigan-based podcast.
According to
whoever
sent us that email.
Yeah, whatever podcast rating program that does. And it's mainly because I'll find out.
Okay. It's mainly because of what?
No, I was gonna say it's mainly because all of our friends who watch the show and listen to us on Apple and other podcast channels rate us 5 stars. So thank you for that.
And if you haven't, go on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify and like leave a review. I think we have one single review, and I think that might be from like Bill Blakesley, which is fine. We appreciate him. It'd be cool to have more reviews on there, even if you think we suck. That's fine too. It can be anonymous.
Yep.
Well, no, it's you, Danny, but it's okay.
I'll try to find it. I don't know where it went, because it's one of those things like, fuck, we're not 69 anymore. I don't care, and I deleted it.
But now we have to get a new banner.
I know. Yeah.
We can just Sharpie on it.
Just cross it out.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We have some spray paint. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Every year we can just do a little bit of like a Sharpie like makeup.
I mean, I feel like we're going to be hitting #1 here pretty soon if we just keep going. So I have no idea.
I got to actually put out the our live streams as podcast episodes to keep that up, though. I think I'm a couple behind. I keep doing that, and I feel bad.
So
like spurts.
So you brought up the house. So we are going to talk about that. Like when we build, Brian and I are going to actually put a studio in my office in the new place, and we're going to change our format, and we're going to start and doing a little bit more editing and kind of increasing our production value. I think better equipment, better sound. What else?
Right now, our production value is
nothing. Yeah,
downloading this, trying to make sure it's not too loud or too quiet, and like hitting the upload button, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, we want to not necessarily start a new show, but potentially maybe make like a offshoot or a second season or a sub series or something like that, where we can sit down with people in person and have good mics and actually edit. We have a professional audio engineer on the books, ready to take our audio files and stuff like that for us already and turn into like a better edited show. So I mean, we'll get there. It's still something that we just want to do as a hobby, though. We don't want to have advertisers. We don't want to be beholden to anybody. We want to do things that are fun for us. We don't want to interrupt the show and say, hey, thank you, whatever sponsor. Yeah. Not that I think the people that sponsor, all the podcasts that I listen to are bad or anything like that, because I listen to a lot of homebrewing podcasts that couldn't exist without them. We are just fortunate enough where we'll have somebody that will be able to spend time, doing this editing and stuff like that for us already. And,
yeah.
And things like that. What are you looking at?
I am
find the podcast.
No, I'm on their site. I found them, but it's hold on. I think I'm looking at last year's. So
is it Podbean?
So it's FeedSpot.
Oh, okay.
But it's funny because FeedSpot sent us the email that we were 15th. I'll find the email, and that's why I think I might be looking at last year's. No. This says we're 64th, which I'm fucking happy with.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But why did they say that we were 15th? I wonder if it was a subcategory.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There's not a lot of beer ones. I mean, if you go up above us, really, there's a lot of good podcasts here. There's a couple I actually listen to, but they're not really beer related. Like these are Michigan themed, Michigan based podcasts. Yeah. But FeedSpot.
We'll figure it out. This Fistmas is not very spicy. Like I thought it was going to have more to it.
No, I think that's what I remember from your house. Is it was a lesser offensive winter warmer.
It's an easy drinking 8.5 though. Give it that.
Yeah. Yeah.
On to the next one. All right, hold on. I'm going to mute.
So no, I'm excited about building our little studio and how we can pull that together. And I know we're not always going to be able to get everybody or all our guests in person, but I think it might change how we film and our dates, and and not all shows may be live, or they'll be live in some uh, format, but they may not be at the right time because I'm willing to work around other people's schedules. But I'm kind of excited to move this into a different direction and improve the quality. And then, yeah, what Brian was saying is I paid for my youngest to go to Michigan Tech to become an audio engineer. So now they're going to pay me back by editing my podcast.
Good stuff.
Hell yeah. That's what kids are for.
I mean, it's more experience too. It'll,
Yeah.
keep them sharp and stuff like that. Yeah, Shana says, Brian, you can't taste right now. I'm happy to announce that I have like 70% of my taste back. Thank you very much. I had COVID last week, and for the first time, I think that I'm pretty sure, at least it's the first time I've ever tested positive. And yeah, I don't know if it was the congestion or the COVID itself, but there were a couple days there where I really couldn't taste or smell anything, and I was basically just eating Chex cereal because at least it had a texture.
Nice.
It doesn't taste like anything anyway. But yeah, I was testing negative, for last couple days and feeling fine. I went to Keepers last night, so should be fine. I'll let everybody there know, and everybody seemed fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, even like the CDC guidelines on it are pretty much if you're negative, you're negative. Then
I did a teledoc appointment like midweek, and that's basically what she said. She was like, "There's the guidelines are whatever now." Yeah, as far as isolation goes, yeah,
it's still a thing. You take as long as you stay vaccinated, it's just going to become more of the common flu type thing. I saw it since it's public on Facebook. I mean, Ken Tram's got COVID for the first time, so I hope he feels better soon.
That sucks. Yeah. Better Ken.
Yep.
Speaking of Kens, Ken from Better on Draft 2, I think. I was just listening to the latest episode. I think he's leaving, at least for a bit. So I'm not sure if anybody else listens to Better on Draft. But yeah, we had... Did we have them on? We were on their show for sure, at least once.
I think we did. I think we traded. I thought we had them on.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like we did. I feel like they were on our show too once, but I can't remember either.
Yeah, they're 2 episodes ago. Episode 358 was Ken's farewell.
I think I'm only like halfway through that episode, so I don't know if they said why, but they had oh my gosh, why am I slipping on his name now? From Rochester Mills.
Eric Brigman. They had Eric Brigman because he was their first guest.
Yep.
Which I think is cool. I've actually thought about going back and getting Trevor to come back on. Who's our first guest. So
yeah, he's good to listen to. He seems like a smart guy. Yeah, that was actually a really good episode too. Speaking of going back to our talks about the brewing industry and stuff like that, because he talked about Rochester quite a bit and some of their hardships and some of the two roots like non-alcoholic stuff. Like how they kind of got started around the same time as like athletic brewing and stuff like that, and there was just like a race for all these like resources in the non-alcoholic market and yeah, all this other stuff. So it was a good episode. All their episodes are good episodes, but yeah, that one particularly was pretty interesting to listen to. If you like Beer Chore Radio, I tend to like to listen to their stuff.
Yeah,
whenever they come out,
yeah. They're I think they've been trying to hit like every other Friday or something like that, or twice a month.
Yeah,
they're definitely more consistent than us.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I mean they're interesting, and they go, kind of. They don't focus on any one area, and they've even done, like craft brew, Michigan craft brew. I think they have their like Michigan series, which is pretty cool, and we've talked to a couple of the same people. Yeah, it's been cool. It was cool to go on their show.
They have a Discord channel that they were trying to make kind of pop off for a while. I think it's called Michigan Craft Beer Community. Yeah, it looks like it's still going. I'm not sure how busy it is. I'm looking at the general channel of the Discord, and it looks like there's a couple messages every day at least.
We never, I know we created the Discord, but we never really put it out to anybody, did we?
Yeah, I mean, our show's not big enough really where
No.
So here's my thing. Not everything needs a Discord.
I'm with
Not
you.
that like there's so many freaking Discord like have one for your group of friends. If you're like a big YouTube channel, have one. Like we don't need one. We have
No,
one.
I don't know why we ever set one up, but we set one up, and then every time I launch Discord, it pops up, and I'm like, what is that even for?
Like I feel like it's a good space for us to be sharing things with each other.
Yeah.
And I guess it's there for if other people want to use it. And I built a bot that scrapes Untapped for people's accounts, that want to register with like my bot and stuff like that. That posts like what they're drinking on Untapped to our Discord channel. But like it's besides that, it's whatever. Untapped, they closed down their API like years and years ago, and they won't open it back up again to normal developers, probably unless you want to pay
You got to pay for it.
a huge fee. Yeah, which really fucking sucks because there's probably a huge bunch of data there, which also makes sense because they have to make their money. But I feel like there'd be a lot of cool things you could do with it, but
Yeah.
it'd probably be abused, pretty heavily if it was just available for everybody.
Something just popped up. My feed refreshed, and I thought about it and what we used to do, and I think we did for the first 3 or 4 years that we started. We always had a Kalamazoo Beer Week show, and of course now it's Kalamazoo Beverage Week.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to do that again. I don't know who's running it anymore, and it's really moved away from beer and focusing more on beverage. But for
Which is
those
cool.
yeah, no, it's cool. It's still a cool event. There's still a bunch of things that I want to go to. But I'm just more calling it out for the people that listen, maybe from the other side of the state or listen to this in the coming weeks. It's a little bit later this year. I think it's the first week of February. Is Kalamazoo Beverage Week, and if you search some of the things on Facebook or some of the if you KBW, you'll start seeing the events. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things going on in Kalamazoo. I think it's like February 1st through the 8th, maybe, or something like that, or the 9th. But anyway, just check it out for people, or that's coming. Kalamazoo Beer Week's coming. Kalamazoo Beverage Week is coming. What are you drinking now?
Sorry, I was like sniffing and swallowing crap. So a guy that I bowl with, Mark, I don't bowl with him. He's on a different team, but he has a friend that like brings him like excess Bell's beer like all the time, and so I give him homebrew occasionally, and he brings me like a 12 pack or a case of like random like Bell stuff, and so he brought me like a bunch of random like Two Hearted, well, not Two Hearted, but like hearted stuff. So you have a bunch of Change of Heart and Big Hearted and other stuff in my fridge right now. A couple of them kind of exploded on me, not like explode, but like so maybe I was like handling them rough. I opened this one slowly and it was fine, but I opened just like a regular Two Hearted a week or two ago, and the thing just like erupted all over my desk. So I don't know what the deal there was. They're not.
Wow.
I checked and I don't think it was very old. So I don't know what the deal was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm drinking a Change of Heart.
I've not tried that one yet.
It's fine. It's their pale ale. 5.9%. Oh, Instagram just disconnected, which is fine. We're hitting an hour anyway.
Yeah, I think we're probably at a good spot. It's been a good show. I'm looking forward to it. I would like to try to kick off our first competition discussion. Probably at the end of January, beginning of February. I may try to in the next few days put a post up about some of the topics that I want to cover and looking for feedback. And if people want to participate in the conversation, then by all means. I really am looking at making these competition episodes. And I don't know if we said this in the beginning, we may label them slightly differently too, but I'm looking to make them more educational and things that we can kind of post out or cross post to some other groups, not necessarily to bring people into Michigan Brews, but just for the wider, homebrew competition community on some conversations we're going to have. So I'll get a post out on Michigan Brews, and I'd love feedback from anybody that's listening on, maybe if there's a topic that we're missing, or if they know somebody that should participate in the conversation. So looking for that.
Cool.
It'd be great.
Well, thanks everyone for listening tonight. I'll actually put this into a podcast and hopefully get this out the next day or two, along with the last one, or even two. I'll have to see how far behind I am on episodes, but we'll get them up.
Right on. Well, that said, then I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening, everybody, and hanging out. Appreciate the conversation.
Cool.
It was good catching up.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Good night.
Cheers.
Sorry, selecting the outro.